Did the YouTube Rewind 2019 do better than 2018, and did it make up for being shit the last couple of years? We're going to answer that today on this video. Hello everybody, my name is Mise Kudasaki and welcome to the Thought Dump, where I talk about various topics on the internet. And today, we're going to be talking about the YouTube Rewind 2019. YouTube Rewind is a big thing for this community because it shows how us as creators, as us as people, commenters, as viewers, as people who help grow this platform, what we did in the whole past year, and to recap all the controversies, all the big topics, all the big YouTubers that we talked about this year, that whole general aspect. But however, that's not how it's been for the past couple of years. The YouTube Rewind has been kind of more family friendly and more marketable as the years have gone by, and 2018 was probably the most egregious one since it became the most disliked video on YouTube. And of course, the irony of the most disliked video on YouTube is by YouTube themselves, and of course that speaks volumes. So of course we have to answer the question, was this YouTube Rewind better than 2018? And in my personal opinion, in that question, yes. I think that 2019 was better than 2018. 2018 was seen as more of the biggest video in which YouTube tried to market itself as family friendly, being that very advertising video that says, hey, we have all these good platforms, stuff like that, but it never really addressed any of the real big things that the whole YouTube event went through. Nothing like the controversies or the big YouTubers that were constantly talked about. It just kind of focused on the ones that wouldn't get them in trouble per se. Now, of course, I understand that there are creators that people won't know about, and there are a lot of creators who are around the millions and 2 millions that were featured more on the YouTube Rewinds than other channels who probably deserved it a little bit more. But of course, there might be other people in other countries that get talked about more than other people in the United States or in Canada or like an English-speaking country, probably places like India and Brazil and Guatemala and Venezuela and just foreign countries that probably get talked about way more than our American or British type of YouTubers. Fair enough. And that's the thing I've always understood, is that they want to feature everybody. But 2018 was kind of that flop year of like getting the very most safe people that constantly get monetized, that constantly get the good revenue to YouTube. And that, to me, was not good, and I think the whole community would agree that it was not good. It was cringy, it was bad, it was horrible. But 2019, I do genuinely think was a decent step up. 2019 kind of did the approach that Spotify does every year, because if you have Spotify, you would know that their yearly wrap up, they give you statistics on how much music you listen to, how much you listen to this artist, what was your biggest artist, what did you do, how much time did you spend on their app listening to music, how much you spent listening to a genre. And they kind of did that, but they did it more in the sense of content creators that got the most likes, content creators that blew up the biggest, content creators that broke milestones, like the first Indian YouTuber to break 10 million subs, or the first Middle Eastern YouTuber to break 1 billion subs. It did more of a statistic thing rather than actually recapping the events. And in my opinion, that is better than last year's. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that video is better, or at least good. We'll get to that later, but I think we could at least all agree that what they did is a step more in the right direction. And there was a lot of videos that you didn't think that they were going to address that they did address. There were some videos that they addressed, like the James Charles video, No More Lies. There was a couple more controversial videos that got attention, which I thought was good. And the biggest important thing, this is the first time in a long while that PewDiePie was actually featured in a rewind. True, it was not him actually going and filming a video and actually being a part of the rewind, but in my personal opinion, he's still featured. It was the first time in a very long time to feature. Kind of a loophole, kind of like a middle ground, but I guess I'm gonna take what I'm gonna get. Now, I would assume, I may be wrong, but I would assume that people would think that this year's YouTube Rewind is at least better than last year's YouTube Rewind. This year was very commercial, it was very bad. But this one that we have right now, it's at least a step in the right direction, recognizing a bunch of YouTubers who I personally think do deserve to get the spotlight. But in terms of it of being a good rewind is where I start to get conflicted. Because while in my personal opinion, I do think this is a better rewind than 2018, this one still seems very ad friendly, very marketable to advertisers, very, I don't know how I would put it, but this seems very show-offish like. And I say that because throughout the whole video, you see stat after stat after stat. Them flexing that they have this, they have that. This person got 1.3 billion views on their channel. This person got 10 million likes on their video. This person has 10 million likes on their channel. This person reached 100 million likes on their channel. This is our biggest content creator. This is our biggest content creator. And while I did enjoy it, because personally I'm a stats guy, and there probably are people out there that will enjoy it because they are also stat people too, this would seem more like a very rushed advertising piece. While there are YouTubers that got featured here that usually aren't featured on the Rewind because they're more controversial, or they wouldn't get the attention because there are other family-friendly YouTubers that YouTube would rather push, at the same time, this would be the type of video you would show to like an investment board saying, oh, we have these numbers, we got these numbers this year, these are our biggest YouTubers. And while there might be people that might like the stats and are interested about it, this is not the type of video the community needs. This is not the type of the video the community wants. They want the more goofy, more fun, more crazy things that actually address and put in YouTubers who are more talked about on the platform. Those type of YouTubers who actually made an impact in terms of being spoken about on YouTube. And I'm not here to be asshole. I'm not here to throw judgment. Those YouTubers that did get addressed, I do personally think, do deserve it. Those were the biggest YouTubers all over the site. Those are the YouTubers that gained the most traction, gained the most popularity. However, another big problem with that is that people are going to be upset because the algorithm is a thing, and because these YouTubers were the big thing, these are still kind of perceived as advertiser-friendly YouTubers. While there's YouTubers like Shane Dawson, James Charles, PewDiePie, other YouTubers that did gain traction, at the same time there are other ones that people aren't going to be knowing about, and people that they see are going to be assumed to be those more money-making, advertiser-friendly YouTubers, those ones who can bring YouTube the money, who will get monetized over time because their videos are more friendly. Now, statistically, they do deserve to be in this video. They've proven that by their stats. But that's the conflict of the YouTube Rewind. Do you put the biggest content creators out there, or do you put the ones that everyone's going to know, but they didn't really do much this year? I think the best example that we can give for this type of YouTuber is KSI and Logan Paul. They were nowhere to be seen in this video at all, but they had one of the biggest events for YouTubers to have. No, it wasn't on YouTube, it was on Danza, it was on the boxing streaming site, but it was two YouTubers doing something. It was considered a YouTube event, but there was no mention of that boxing event at all on here because it wasn't a YouTube. So that's where the conflict lies, where yes, you did give us, the most relevant YouTubers statistically, but you didn't give us the most relevant YouTubers who maybe had like a big event. You didn't address those big events. Another example is the James Charles video. James Charles had this huge controversy this year with Jeffree Star and whatever the girl's name is. I apologize for not remembering her name. But he had this whole controversy. But only the video was addressed. The actual controversy wasn't addressed. And I think that's what more people want. They want a recap of the biggest events that happened 2 YouTubers, and we didn't really get that. We just got the numbers. I do think that this year's YouTube Rewind was better than last year. I think this is a step in the right direction, but it's baby steps. It's good, but it's not enough. And if they keep going down this path of doing it this way, and not actually contacting YouTubers or doing stuff like that, then I think that's a problem. Because I don't think this is what the community wants. I think they want YouTube to actually address the big events and actually have the most relevant YouTubers. Now, again, like I said, statistically, they are, but I think they want the PewDiePies. I think they want the Jake Pauls. I think they want, the YouTubers that may not do anything number-wise anymore, or not as big as other YouTubers that they mentioned in this year's YouTube Rewind, but they get massively talked about every single year by the entire community. And I think that's what's they're most important to them. Don't get the ones that do well statistically, do the ones that people know in relevancy, the ones that names get talked about throughout a bunch of YouTube videos. As far as what I want from YouTube Rewind, I'm not 100% sure. Like I said, this is a very conflicting, very confusing type of feeling where I did enjoy this rewind. I thought that it was better than last year. I liked looking at the stats, like I said before. But is this really what direction we want to go down? Is this really the way of YouTube Rewind, where it's just a 5-minute video of them flexing stats of YouTubers who we may not hear before? Again, this brings them a lot of attention, and those other YouTubers who the community might not know very well, or at least talk about much, will get that attention and be talked about, at least for the time being when YouTube Rewind is relevant, which is probably going to be for the 3-week span until the next year comes. Now, my personal thing is, I want to know if, with this YouTube Rewind, if they just decided to do it this way, or if they actually contacted certain YouTubers to actually do a certain rewind, and they just said no, because they got so much backlash themselves last year for being a part of last year's travesty and being a part of the most disliked video on YouTube, that they rather not do that again, which I could totally believe. There are some YouTubers who were a part of that YouTube Rewind that just did not like that YouTube Rewind, and they were probably only doing it because YouTube was either paying them or they were getting some type of compensation. And honestly, this isn't the first year that a YouTuber who was part of YouTube had a problem with it. 2 years before and 3 years before, we've had many complaints of YouTubers saying how YouTube fucked up, how YouTube took really long, how YouTube didn't know what they were doing, how it was just a mess, how it was stressful, how it was probably fun seeing everybody, but YouTube just made it a really bad time. Like, this is a track record that YouTube has of YouTubers going on YouTube Rewind and not having the best enjoyable time. So I can believe that YouTubers just say, fuck that, we don't want to be part of Rewind this year. And they're kind of like, oh, well, we gotta come up with something. So I'd like to see if any other YouTubers who were part of that or got reached out, like a Casey Nightside or a Lily Singh or a Lele Pons, got actually reached out to, and they just straight up said no. Because that would be a revelation, and it would be so juicy for that to happen. But that's going to do it for my thoughts on the whole YouTube Rewind 2019 video. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Go ahead and show your support with all the links down below. And I will see you guys next time. And remember to stay hydrated.